Hello, homeschooling parents. I have a question for you today. Are you homeschooling a promising student? Before you say yes or no, let's make sure we're talking about the same thing. What is your definition of a promising student? Well, Cambridge Dictionary states a promising student is likely to be very good or successful in the future. Doesn't this suggest that a promising student is likely not to be very good or successful at the moment? But this definition gives us hope that a not so good student right now is destined for better days. So let me ask you again, are you homeschooling a promising student? If your child is having educational or behavioral challenges, I've got good news for you. You are homeschooling a promising student, and better days are ahead. My name is parent coach SHAROYA Ham. I'm a behavior specialist helping parents to change their behavior so you can remain calm, consistent, and confident that you're doing the right thing. In my job when working with clients, I deal with families who are really struggling to help their children meet the educational behavioral goals that they have set for them. Well, today I'm going to tell you just 3 simple steps that I take all of my clients through in helping them to understand this process is simple, yet it requires your attention. And so today I'm going to ask for your attention just during this video so I can help share those 3 simple steps with you. Are you ready? The steps are: be calm, take note, and connect the dots. Be calm, take notes, and connect the dots. I'm going to say it one more time because these are the 3 steps I'm going to be talking about today. Be calm, take notes, actually take notes, and connect the dots. You know, I want to warn you because we as parents, we tend to jump over the simple and get the complicated. What programs are out there that can help my child read better? But sometimes we just need to start with the simple. And I want to do just that for you today. So step 1 is to be calm. How do you get calm? I'm going to share that with you in a moment because pretty much you know what works for you to get calm. So we want to just remind you in this area. But before I do that, I want to share with you a story. 8 years ago, my son, Miles, his name is Miles, he was struggling in middle school. I recognized after receiving his standardized test scores, for 2 years in a row, he had been struggling. The scores had barely moved. I thought, what is going wrong? And so I called the school up. I said, no, I don't just want to meet with one teacher at a time. Please, can I have a parent-teacher conference with everybody in the room? I walk in the room, all the teachers are there. They begin to tell me what they're seeing, the deficiencies in his academics. Then they start to tell me about his behavioral issues. I knew then there was something going on because as a veteran teacher who used to teach math in high school, I knew that when my kids were struggling academically, that's when their behavior started to flare up and be inappropriate. So I left there really disturbed because never before had I heard such bad news with him. I knew he wasn't the finest student getting the tops, the A's and the B's all the time, but I knew he had great potential. I came home, I lay down in the bed, I was praying and crying. And something happened I will always remember. My son, 6 foot tall, 12 years old, came walking into my bedroom, knelt down by the side of my bed and said, Mom, if you're crying because of what those people said, I don't care what they said. I want you to know that I'm going to be okay. You know, in that moment, I looked at his face. He was so convincing. I knew he was going to be okay. The problem was me. I needed to get my mind off of doom and gloom and look at his face and see that he is not a struggling student, but he recognized that he was a promising student. He recognized that right now he might be struggling, but indeed he was going to see better days. My son taught me the value of being calm. And today I want you to understand that this concept of being calm is simple, but yet it was even enough for Harvard University to study and to find out that when parents have a lot of fear and anxiety, it affects their child's learning and development. And that's a Harvard University study. So I'm here to say to you, no matter where you are on this journey of homeschooling, if you just started schooling your child and you're like, what do I do? I want you first to start with being calm. And I'm going to tell you how to do that just a moment. But I really want it to get into your innermost being that you are going to stifle your child's learning and development if you don't show up every day being calm. So let me help you. Consider some options for how you can be calm. Here, I want to give you 3 things. Number 1, take time to write down your concerns at night. You know, our worries play tricks with us, and more so they sap us of our energy. So I want to encourage you every night to develop a practice just to write down your concerns, just a list, not a sentence, not a reflection. What is concerning you? Oh, how long is going to take me to get this done today? Or will my son have a meltdown today? These are the things that concern you. Look at your list and just set one goal, just one goal. I make a point to today or tomorrow, you're setting the goal the night before, I'm going to make a point to just sit down with my son in the room while he's doing his math. Just sit there and see if that helps. Just one goal, because what happens when we set one goal and we reach it? The momentum builds and we can go on to other things. Okay, so first you can just write a list of things that concern you about the next day. The next thing you'll do is simply look at that list, set one small goal for yourself to assist your promising student. Then number 3 is very important. You got to be proactive. You know, when parents and working with clients, when they get upset is when they feel like their back is against the wall. Their child is asking them for something and it's not the right time and they don't know how to respond. So I want you to start thinking about what could go wrong tomorrow and then just writing a little routine that you can do to keep it at minimum, okay? So what am I talking about? Let me be a little bit more specific. One thing that I implemented when I was a homeschool mom is someone gave me this great advice is to treat my child as if he weren't my own. And you know, when she said it, I was like, what? But then I realized what she meant. What she's saying is, we're not rude to other people's children. We're least likely to yell at other people's children. And I found that that worked. Get myself into the mindset that this is someone else's child and that's how I'm going to speak to him. If you can make that part of your routine, perhaps that will help. Here's another thing. Watch what you're thinking about your child. If you're thinking they're stubborn, that's not going to help you. But if you're thinking, okay, my child right now is really adamant about this. Now, should I just back away until he comes down and I am able to reason? But adamant is a good quality. Stubborn is not. Be careful of the words you choose to describe your promising student. So I want you to write the night before, what words can you use instead of the negative ones that often pop up? It's important to be proactive so you can show up in the morning calm. And another thing that you should think about is that when things begin to escalate, where your child's behavior maybe is having a meltdown and you are losing your patience, go small and go quiet. Sit down and just limit your words. This opens space up for your child to examine their behavior. When you're yelling at them, guess who they're blaming? They're blaming you for getting them riled up. But when it's quiet, they have no one to blame, and they're more likely to see that their behavior is inappropriate. So I just want to encourage you to be proactive the night before about how you will show up calm the next day. Our kids are supposed to show up to school ready to learn. We need to show up calm so that they can have the confidence they need to learn and develop. All right, so once you spend time getting yourself prepared and ready to go to wake up calm, please don't touch that cell phone. You know that that does not help you be calm in the morning. So think about it. Lay down. Maybe you can do 10 breaths before you get out of bed. Maybe you can sing a song. Maybe you can pray. Whatever it is, before your feet hit the floor, get calm. And after you get calm, we want to move on to the second step. You know, Albert Einstein once said, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solution. Doesn't this seem a little backwards? Most of us get on Google and start, my child needs this, my child is slow in reading, what do I do? All of us, we're looking for solutions, not just for 55 minutes. We can spend hours on Google looking for products and the tricks, what we can do to help our kid. But Albert Einstein had something he recognized. He understood that if we understand the nuances of the problem, we can get to the solution faster. If we understand when our child is reading well or not reading, or the little things like, are they reading well in this subject and not that subject? Or maybe they're reading well when it's pictures in the book, you know, the nuances. That's what we have to take note of. Now, where we go wrong is many times we think, oh, I've got it here, I've got it here. But I'm going to tell you something I learned being a veteran teacher, helping students who were failing in math. The kids were sent to me. I was affectionately called the last great hope, because when the kids arrived in my classroom, they had failed Algebra 1 twice. They were taking it for the third time. But you know what those days of teaching those promising students taught me? Taught me the value of writing down notes. I took note of how long they could pay attention before they just went haywire. I took note of what problems were easy and what problems were hard. I took note of, you know, what was the challenges each one of them were facing, and I wrote down. And guess what? I began to connect some dots. And so what I recognized was that for the problems that they found easy, I tried to change the harder problems to kind of look like the easier problems. I had to slow my pace down. And those who their attention was challenged pretty much the whole class after failing twice, you don't want to pay attention. But what I decided to do was teach for 15 minutes, give them 2 minutes to just chat in intervals between my teaching. I had to learn to be unorthodox to reach them. Because what I really wanted them to feel and believe, I wanted them to be like Miles. I wanted them to know that they were going to be okay. So, what is it that you need to write down? What you need to do is take notice of what you want your child to do. What is it that you're trying to get them to do? Do you want them to pay attention longer, to expand their focus? Do you want them to, reduce the amount of anxiety meltdowns that they have? You want your child to feel confident. Well, then you must pay attention to these behaviors outside of the classroom. When are they doing it? When are they succeeding? And you want to put a pin right there and let them know, you know what? Today I saw your confidence. Wow, I couldn't believe how long you focused on that. That was excellent. It seems your attention span is growing. You're not just patting them on the back, telling them they're a super duper kid. You want to be specific. So let me just back up a little bit. You want to take notice of when your child is doing the behavior. So if they're sitting down, or they're reading or doing a task with confidence, you want to write down the day, the time, who was around and what did they say. I'm telling you, just trust me. For 14 days, I want to challenge you to do this, because maybe your child is having meltdowns in the morning and you have never really just tried allowing them to sleep until they wake up and find out how is their mood. So in this 14 days, if your child is having some mood issues or meltdowns in the morning, what you can simply do is let them sleep and see if she wakes up in a better mood, if she's able to do her homework. Take note of that. What time she woke up, what time, how long it took to get dressed. These things that you want to shape your homeschool around so that your child can succeed. Maybe your child is not feeling confident. They always want you to sit next to them. So I want you to just see moments when they're outside of the classroom, outside of school, where they're exhibiting confidence. Maybe it's at the grocery store. They're speaking it to an adult and with such confidence. You can simply say afterwards, wow, I noticed how confident you were in speaking to that adult. That is going to serve you well in college when you're talking to your professors. It can even serve you well when you become a supervisor and you're talking to your staff. Do you see that? You're talking to your kid, you're pinpointing things about their behavior that are going well outside of the classroom. And then you're pinning it to their future, helping them to see the connection between the skill of confidence will bring them success in the future. It will trickle into the classroom. But first, you must take note and look for opportunities when you see your child doing the appropriate behavior. So many times we spend time focusing on what is going wrong. I want to challenge you for 14 days to look and see what is going right, when it's going right, where it's going right, and who's around. I don't want you to keep it here. I want you to keep it here. Why? So then you can do step 3, and that's to connect the dots. After you're calm, you wake up in the morning before your feet hit the ground, you're just having a moment of calm. Then you get up, you go through your day with that one goal in mind. And guess what? That's where you can start to take notes around that one goal. What happened? What did you say? How did they respond? What time of the day it was? What day it was? All of that good stuff in your notes. so we can do step 3, which is connect the dots. Now, how do we connect the dots? Listen, I've had so many clients over the years and talked to parents and recognize they're struggling with trying to find answers, solutions for their kids amongst all the 1,001 things that they have to do in a day. Prepare dinner, go to work, fix the car, do all of these different things. And so a lot gets lost. But when it's in this book, let me tell you what begins to happen. You read over it and you go, wow, okay, I set this goal on Monday. I was able to achieve it. And this is what happened. Oh, on Wednesday, I set this goal. I wasn't able to achieve it. This is what happened. And you begin to see a pattern. So you don't connect dots from memory. You can connect the dots from your notes. When I started writing notes down, when I was homeschooling my son Miles, I began to see some patterns. I recognized that he loved to do things with his hands. But as his teacher, his homeschool teacher, it was hard for me to find ways to keep him interested in all the lessons. But I noticed he worked best when the lessons were self-guided. But you know what? This was hard for me because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't allowing him to stay on the computer more than I instructed him. But guess what? What did the data say? The data said that he needed curriculum, that he could be self-guided, not direct instruction. I noticed he worked better with music blasting in his ear. Of course, I didn't want this. This is not the way I learned, nor did I think it was acceptable as a teacher. But guess what? The data showed that he did better in his writing when I allowed him to listen to music. I also recognized from taking notes that when I said to him, you can do this assignment for 30 minutes and then you can stop. It's finished for the day. You know what? He actually did it. He worked the entire 30 minutes and he did his assignments more accurately. You would think that he would lollygag for the whole 30 minutes, but there was something in him knowing that I don't have to do this assignment the whole day, just 30 minutes. But I learned all of this from taking notes and connecting the dots. So here is what I want to do. I want to challenge you for 14 days to just put these 3 steps into play every single day. Be calm. That during the day, you have to remain calm. So remember back there where I was telling you to have those routines in place so you can remain calm and take notes, particularly around the goal that you set. How is that working? And find some patterns there that you can begin to tweak for the next day for 14 days. And I want you to know, if every single day you're like, I don't know, I'm not seeing any patterns, here's what I want you to do. I simply want you to ask your child, if you were your homeschool teacher, how would you arrange homeschool to suit you? I just want you to have a good old conversation, like take them out for some ice cream and ask them this question, not during the school day. Don't make this work. Make this a pleasurable conversation. Take them out, ask them, if you were your own homeschool teacher, how would you arrange homeschool to suit you? And then I want you to listen and listen carefully. Take notes. And I want you for the next week to say, okay, we're going to try this idea, and this idea for 1 week. And again, your goal for that week is to wake up, be calm. Don't keep an open mind. Don't criticize. Just keep an open mind, looking for the things that are going right. Take note of the things that are going right. And then at the end of the week, I want you to see what things actually work. What things can you actually adopt in your routines, your normal routines, and what things maybe you're willing to let go that you've been doing? You know, my Miles is 20 years old now, 6'4", 230 pounds. And I want you to know that he's in his third year in college. While many students have racked up a lot of debt going to school, my Miles has secured himself a football scholarship. And while many school students go to school and their grades plummet, my Miles has earned a 3.0 last semester. You know, he also is financially responsible, earning $500 a month as a resident assistant. Why am I telling you all of this? Because Miles was a promising student. Your child is a promising student. And just like Miles, he or she will see better days. But it depends on you, how you make them feel, what you say to them, and your ability to encourage and uplift, and your ability to have restraint during those difficult days. I want you to know better days are ahead. Now, for those of you who may have children with very, very challenging behavior or really struggling in school, I want to offer you something. I want to offer you the opportunity to have a chat with me. In 15 minutes, we can figure out the next step you can take. I promise you. But here's what you have to have in order for that promise to be filled. You have to have 14 days of taking note. So please join in on the challenge, the 14-day challenge, and take notes for 14 days. That means the weekend, because remember, you're looking for the behavior you want to see. So on the weekend, you're definitely looking for it. When are they showing their ability to pay attention? When are they showing that confidence that they need to be successful later on in life? Not just successful in homeschool. This is about the future. So I want to encourage you, take this 14-day challenge. If you have tried everything you know to do and you're not seeing patterns, please reach out to me. Let's chat for 15 minutes, because I know that better days are ahead, and I'm willing to help you get there. I'm willing to help you support your kid with a 15-minute consultation. We'll get there. All right? Take care.